If you have ever bolted upright in bed at 3 a.m., gasping for air with a cold sweat drenching your sheets, you probably blamed it on a bad dream or a heavy dinner. You told yourself it was just a panic attack, or perhaps a bit of acid reflux, and you waited for your racing heart to slow down so you could go back to sleep. But there is a reason 3 a.m. is known as the death zone in emergency rooms across America. It is the specific window of time where your biology and your environment collide in a way that is often fatal. Most people wait for the Hollywood heart attack, the crushing chest pain, that feels like an elephant sitting on your ribs. But for seniors, the real warning sign is much subtler, quieter, and happens while the rest of the world is silent. Tonight, we are going to look at the one specific signal your heart sends when it is starving for oxygen, and why ignoring it for even one more night could be the biggest mistake of your life. The modern medical system is designed to treat you after you already had a crisis, because that is where the profit lies. Your cardiologist gets paid for the stent, the bypass, and the long-term prescriptions, not for teaching you how to read the subtle language of your own nervous system at 2 a.m. This channel is dedicated to giving you the answers the system isn't designed to provide. We are working to reach 1,000 subscribers to prove that honest preventative health information has a place on this platform. If you want to understand what is actually happening inside your chest while you sleep, hit the like button and subscribe to Dr. Kewin Clinic. We aren't here to give you medical advice. We are here to give you medical intelligence. Let us start by looking at a phenomenon doctors call the circadian rhythm of risk, and why your body undergoes a violent chemical shift every single night as the clock strikes 3. Your body is not a static machine. It follows a rigid, ancient clock known as the circadian rhythm. As you enter the deepest stages of sleep, your internal chemistry begins a massive transition. Between the hours of 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., your body's production of cortisol and adrenaline, the fight-or-flight hormones, actually begins to surge in preparation for the coming day. Simultaneously, your blood becomes naturally stickier or more hypercoagulable. This is an evolutionary trait designed to prevent you from bleeding out if a predator attacked you in your sleep. But in the modern world, it creates a perfect storm. For someone with even a small amount of arterial plaque, this combination of rising blood pressure and thickened blood is like trying to force cold molasses through a tiny straw. This is why more heart attacks and strokes occur in the early morning than at any other time. Your 3 a.m. wake-up call isn't an accident. It is a mechanical failure caused by a surge your heart isn't strong enough to handle. So, what is the specific sign you need to look for? It is a clinical condition known as Paroxysmal Nocturnal Dyspnea, or PND. It sounds complex, but the sensation is simple and terrifying. You wake up feeling like you are drowning in thin air. You aren't just short of breath like you are after a brisk walk. You feel an intense air hunger that forces you to sit up or even stand up and run to a window to get a deep breath. Most people mistake this for asthma or anxiety, but in a senior's body, PND is almost always a sign of left-sided heart failure. When you lie flat, gravity causes fluid that was sitting in your legs all day to move back toward your heart. If your heart is weak, it can't pump that extra fluid out fast enough, and it begins to leak into your lung tissue. You are literally drowning from the inside out, and your brain wakes you up in a panic because it realizes your oxygen levels are crashing. The reason this is so dangerous is that once you sit up, the fluid moves back down toward your abdomen and legs, and the drowning sensation disappears within minutes. Because you feel fine again, you think the danger has passed. You go back to sleep, unaware that your heart just failed a massive stress test. This cycle repeats night after night, causing microscopic damage to your heart muscle and your lungs. Each time you ignore that 3 a.m. gasp for air, you are narrowing the window for intervention. In the U.S., thousands of seniors are labeled as having anxiety or sleep apnea, when their primary problem is actually a cardiovascular pump that is losing the battle against gravity. If you find yourself needing to be propped up by 2 or 3 pillows just to breathe comfortably at night, you aren't just getting comfortable. You are using pillows as a medical device to keep fluid out of your lungs. But the signs don't always feel like breathing problems. Your heart doesn't have traditional pain receptors, so it communicates through referred pain. At 3 a.m., the heart might send a signal that your brain interprets as a dull ache in the lower jaw, the back of the neck, or even the left shoulder blade. Many seniors wake up thinking they just slept wrong or have a toothache. However, pain that only appears in the middle of the night and subsides when you move around is a major red flag. This is your heart's way of screaming for more oxygen, because the demand on the heart peaks during that early morning cortisol surge. Any narrowing in your coronary arteries will manifest as this strange, phantom pain. If you wake up with a tight jaw or a heavy left arm in the dead of night, don't reach for an aspirin and go back to sleep. Reach for a phone and check your vitals. One of the most common reasons seniors ignore a 12 a.m. heart attack is because it feels exactly like heartburn or acid reflux. There is a burning sensation in the upper abdomen or behind the breastbone. Because the esophagus and the heart share the same nerve pathways, your brain can't easily tell the difference between stomach acid and a starving heart muscle. People often take an antacid and lay back down, which is the worst thing they could do. If that heartburn is accompanied by a cold sweat or a sense of impending doom, it is not the pizza you had for dinner. A sense of impending doom is a documented clinical symptom where the nervous system realizes a catastrophic failure is occurring before the conscious mind can process it. If you feel a sudden, inexplicable fear at 3 a.m., along with chest discomfort, your body is telling you that your time is running out. To understand why the heart glitches at this specific time, we have to look at the vagus nerve. This is the superhighway of the nervous system that connects your brain, your gut, and your heart. At night, your body is dominated by the parasympathetic nervous system, which slows everything down to allow for repair. But if you have underlying heart issues, the vagus nerve can overcorrect. It slows the heart rate so significantly that the blood pressure drops too low, triggering a rebound effect. Your heart suddenly starts racing to catch up, causing nocturnal tachycardia. You wake up with your heart pounding against your ribs like a trapped bird. This isn't stress. It is a mechanical malfunction. The vagus nerve is trying to restart a system that is struggling to maintain its basic flow, and for a senior with weakened arteries, this sudden jumpstart can be enough to trigger a full-scale cardiac event. Here's a simple test you can do right now to check your heart's efficiency. It is called the orthopnea check. Tonight, try lying perfectly flat without any pillows for 5 minutes. If you feel a sense of pressure in your chest, a slight cough, or a need to gulp for air, your heart is likely struggling to manage its fluid volume. Healthy hearts can handle the fluid shift of lying flat without any issues. But if your heart's ejection fraction, the amount of blood it pumps out with each beat, is dropped, that fluid will accumulate in your chest. This is why many seniors subconsciously start sleeping in a recliner or stacking pillows behind their heads. They think they are just dealing with back pain or snoring, but they are actually performing a crude form of medical triage on themselves to keep their lungs from filling with fluid. The 3 a.m. warning sign actually starts 12 hours earlier in your feet. If you notice that your socks leave deep indentations in your ankles by 5 p.m., or if your shoes feel tighter in the evening, you have pitting edema. This is excess fluid that your heart was too weak to pull back up against gravity during the day. When you finally lay down to sleep at 10 or 1 p.m., that fluid doesn't just disappear, it re-enters your bloodstream. By 3 a.m., your blood volume has increased significantly because all the leg fluid is now in your veins. This extra volume is what causes the 3 a.m. spike in blood pressure and the eventual drowning sensation. Your ankles are the early warning system for your heart. If they are swollen during the day, your heart is almost guaranteed to struggle during the night. Why do people wake up in a cold sweat during a heart event? This is called diaphoresis. When the heart struggles to pump, the body's sympathetic nervous system goes into overdrive. It thinks you are being attacked or that you are dying, so it activates the sweat glands to cool the body down for a fight that isn't coming. But because you are in a cool bedroom and not actually moving, the sweat feels cold and clammy. A normal night sweat, often caused by menopause or room temperature, usually feels warm. A cardiac sweat feels like deathly cold moisture on your forehead and neck. If you wake up shivering and wet at 3 a.m., while the room is cool, your heart is likely in a state of acute distress. This is the body's emergency broadcast system, and it is one of the most reliable signs that a heart attack is either happening or is minutes away. To really understand this, we have to look at the coronary arteries. These are the tiny fuel lines that feed the heart muscle itself. Unlike other muscles that get blood while they work, the heart muscle primarily receives its blood flow during the rest phase of the heartbeat, called diastole. At 3 a.m., when your heart rate is at its lowest, you would think the heart is getting the most rest. But because your blood is thicker and your cortisol is rising, the heart actually has to work harder against more resistance. If those tiny fuel lines are narrowed by even 50%, they cannot deliver enough oxygen to meet this early morning demand. The heart muscle begins to cramp just like a leg muscle cramps during a run, but a heart cramp is what we call angina. If it lasts long enough, the muscle tissue starts to die. That is the definition of a heart attack. In the U.S., silent ischemia is the leading cause of unexplained death in seniors. This is a heart attack that occurs without any chest pain at all. Because of aging or conditions like diabetes, the nerves that carry pain signals from the heart to the brain can become numb. Instead of pain, the only symptoms are sudden, extreme fatigue, a cold sweat, or that 3 a.m. shortness of breath. You might wake up feeling like you have the flu for 5 minutes, and then it goes away. This is the silent killer, because it leaves no trace until the heart stops entirely. This is why understanding the timing of your symptoms is more important than the intensity of the pain. If it happens at 3 a.m., and it happens consistently, it is a vascular event until proven otherwise. One of the reasons the 3 a.m. window is so dangerous is because of our mineral levels. Magnesium is the master mineral that allows muscles, including the heart, to relax. Magnesium levels naturally dip to the lowest point in the early morning hours. Without enough magnesium, your arteries cannot dilate or open up to let blood through. They stay stiff and constricted exactly when your blood is at its stickiest. This is why many natural cardiologists recommend taking a high-quality magnesium glycinate supplement before bed. It acts as a natural calcium channel blocker, keeping the heart muscle stable and the arteries open during that dangerous 3 a.m. surge. If you are waking up with leg cramps and heart palpitations, your body is screaming for magnesium. Another critical component is nitric oxide, a gas produced in your blood vessels that tells them to relax and open. Our production of nitric oxide drops by 50% by the time we reach age 60, and it reaches its daily low point while we sleep. Without this gas, your blood vessels are like stiff, rusted pipes. This is why many seniors find relief by eating nitrate-rich foods like beets or arugula in their evening meal, or by using specific breathing techniques that boost nitric oxide. When you breathe through your nose, you produce nitric oxide in your sinuses that travels to your lungs and heart. If you are a mouth breather at night, you are depriving your heart of its primary natural vasodilator exactly when it needs it most. Your 3 a.m. waking might simply be your heart gasping for the gas it needs to stay open. Believe it or not, the way you lay in bed can determine whether you survive the night. Sleeping on your left side can actually put pressure on the heart and change its electrical activity in some seniors. However, sleeping perfectly flat on your back is the most dangerous for fluid accumulation in the lungs. Most functional doctors recommend sleeping on the right side, or with the upper body slightly elevated. This allows the heart more room in the chest cavity and prevents the drowning sensation of fluid backup. If you find that you only feel heavy when lying on your back, you have just found a mechanical clue to your heart as health. Your sleeping position shouldn't be a struggle for survival. It should be a time of recovery. If you wake up tonight at 3 a.m. with these signs, do not panic, as panic increases adrenaline and makes the heart's job harder. Immediately sit up and put your feet on the floor. This uses gravity to pull fluid away from your heart. Take slow, deep breaths through your nose to trigger the vagus nerve and produce nitric oxide. If the sensation doesn't pass in 3 minutes, or if you feel pain in your jaw or arm, call for emergency services. It is better to have a false alarm than a silent stroke. Keep a record of these episodes, the exact time, the sensation, and what you ate the night before. This data is more valuable to a good doctor than a single EKG in a quiet office. Many seniors are on beta blockers or diuretics for their blood pressure. While these can be life-saving, they can also mask the 3 a.m. signals. A diuretic might keep your ankles from swelling, but it doesn't fix the underlying heart weakness. A beta blocker might keep your heart rate slow, but it can also prevent your heart from speeding up when it needs to pump extra fluid out of your lungs at night. This is why you must be your own advocate. Don't just take the pill and assume you are fixed. Monitor your nighttime breathing and your daytime energy. If you are medicated but still waking up gasping at 3 a.m., your treatment plan is failing to address the root cause of your vascular health. Reclaiming your health starts with understanding that your body is a system of flow. Your blood must flow, your lymph must flow, and your nervous system signals must flow. When you mobilize your neck, as we discussed in the coordination video, you improve the brain's ability to regulate the heart. When you fix your diet to include magnesium and nitrates, you improve the pipes. And when you listen to the 3 a.m. wake-up call, you are catching the problem while it is still a glitch and before it becomes a crash. You don't have to live in fear of the night. Knowledge is the antidote to anxiety. By understanding the 3 a.m. danger zone, you are taking back control from a system that would rather treat your disease than maintain your health. We are building a community of health detectives here. We want to reach 1,000 subscribers because every new person who learns these signs is a life potentially saved. If you found this information eye-opening, leave a like and comment the word heart below. It tells the algorithm that this content matters, and it helps us reach more seniors who are currently waking up in the dark, wondering why they feel so afraid. Check out our other videos on brain blood flow and coordination, because as you now know, it's all connected. Your heart, your brain, and your neck are the trinity of your longevity. I am Kewin, and I want you to wake up tomorrow, feeling rested, safe, and in total command of your body. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.